Hello, and welcome once again to the Far From Normal Radio Show. I am your host, Jay Moss, and as always, my brother, Mr. Bud Veno. How are you doing this evening?
Yo, my brother from another mother, J Money Moss, July 10th, Jay, 2018, with my OCD, Jay. You know, it's a nice round number. It's going to be a good show. Nice round number. Next week, I believe, the 17th, and then the 24th, another nice round number, so we'll be good. Jay, awesome, exciting show prepared tonight. Had some last-minute bookings, too. We had a wonderful gentleman who reached out, and we'll announce that in a little bit. First, our sister, Neely, the power forward Petrie. Neely, how the heck are you tonight?
I'm doing well. Got a bunch of things going on tomorrow that I'm excited about. So researching and investigative work. So I'm about to really power forward it up. That's for sure.
Oh, good. And Jay.
Yes.
The real deal, McNeil.
Hey, what's up, everybody, man? Happy to be back once again. So far, so good, everything. I'm ready to rock tonight, though. I'm full of energy. I got that Veno power.
Yeah, I know. I can feel it. I can feel it in my private emails. I was like, woo! It was guys, there was lightning bolts coming through everything, giving me energy. It was great. Awesome. Excited to have everybody on tonight. Jay, we love you. Our fearless leader, Jay, is going to carry us into this awesome first half.
Awesome. That's great. We love the fact that everyone is out there able to join us this evening. If you're out there, definitely share the show. We want to get this out to as many people as possible, exactly what's going on here. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce our first guest for this evening, Miss Tanya Hathaway. Tanya, how are you doing this evening?
I am unbelievable. How are you and everybody? Thank you so much for having me on.
Well, definitely thank you. I know that your time is precious. I'm sure that my co-hosts as well would like to thank you for your time.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining us. We're excited to have you on. I know you've got some exciting news, and you've been doing a lot of work. So exciting. And thank you for coming on, as Jay said.
Yeah.
Neely?
Yes, thank you. It's good to meet you, and I'm excited to hear what you have to say. Talk about.
Well, I've only heard great things about you guys, and I'm honored to be able to come on to your show.
Thank you.
And especially before this huge event, you know, with the Whistleblower Summit, I think people are really tuned in to shows like you, like hosts like you guys that are bringing things front and center in the right way.
Yeah, we definitely try and do that. The staple of our show really is kind of geared towards the movement, so to speak. However, we do step outside of the movement every once in a while, and we also try and take those people who are outside of the movement and bring them into the movement with their stories and their experiences as well. So we're grateful, and the best way that we know how to do that is we support those who are staying out of the drama, and we let that kind of stuff roll by us and move on. So the best thing that we can do right now, though, is definitely roll into your story and what you've experienced through the judicial system. And that experience absolutely has been atrocious from my understanding and in reading some of your stories. So if you would go ahead and enlighten our audience, I'm sure they'd love to hear from you.
Oh, goodness. It's hard to put it into like a thumbnail form, but I will say it started out with a whirlwind divorce, forgive me, as Dr. Phil put it. But it was a whirlwind marriage, and then a very quick action towards divorce that wound up in a court that does not have jurisdiction, period. And so that's the bottom line with my story. An awful lot happened in between. There was no jurisdiction. And so, you know, there's various kinds of jurisdiction, but there's subject matter jurisdiction. And I don't know how deep into, you know, technicalities and legalese you get into on this show necessarily.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we get into it.
Matter jurisdiction. And then there's judicial estoppel jurisdiction. So the difference between the two is if you actually answer to a suit in another district, state, whatever it is, then it can be claimed as, if you try to say, no, you don't have subject matter jurisdiction, then it can be claimed as what's called jurisdiction. Too bad, you're already here. You answered, you've shown up, in my case, 8 times halfway across the country in Oklahoma from New Hampshire, and I can't even begin to tell you about those travels. And just about the only thing that can trump the fact that if the other party claims judicial estoppel is if they did not have subject matter jurisdiction to begin with, which means if the court truly does not have jurisdiction over you, the parties, and there are different prongs that need to be met in order to have subject matter jurisdiction over you. Right. And in this case, those prongs weren't met, which meant living in that county for X period of time, having this, that, and the other thing. So, so my huge argument, although I did indeed answer to the suit in Oklahoma after my suit in New Hampshire was evaded and evaded and evaded and evaded, I did answer to it in Oklahoma. Okay. You know, I had no way to prove that there was no subject matter jurisdiction. And when I finally realized that I could prove it, I took it to task in the court, do the proper legal filings that this must be dismissed. And
by that time it's too late.
Force themselves all along, and now they're even trying to enforce the court orders in Oklahoma to New Hampshire that are born with fraud, perjury, all kinds of crazy things to begin with, and that I can't even begin to tell you. That the story is like unbelievable. If I did not have proof, people would go like, yeah, right. That's how a lot of us get into this, right? Yeah,
and that's how a lot of us become a lot of advocates in the movement. And when you see a lot of the advocates in the movement and they've been around for a long time, a lot of people go, well, you would not understand my story. It's so complex and you've never heard anything like it. Trust me, I've heard it.
We would be telling each other stories.
Yes. Yes. There's probably has not been a thing in the last probably a year to 2 years that I have not heard before, because it goes on these things, and everyone's story is necessarily the same, but it's different. There's different aspects to it. Obviously, jurisdiction is probably the biggest one that we hear all the time, is because, especially with veterans, when we're talking about VA's jurisdiction and how it's under federal jurisdiction and federal rules and federal regulations, but we have these civil courts who are bypassing the federal law and they're enforcing a child support order that's not one that they can make in the first place because they never had jurisdiction to do so. So we hear that. We hear it a lot.
Yes, Tanya, so let me ask you, I might be jumping the gun a little bit. So what's your avenue now in your process to prove this and eliminate this?
Well, I mean, the funny thing is, you know, I have judicial complaint, I have a bar complaint, I have complained to the Attorney General's office, who told me through like a third party, don't contact me again, but no answers. You know, you get okay, so when you start complaining to people, right, you have the intake people and they're like, oh my gosh, send me this stuff, this one's juicy, right? And then all of a sudden it goes to the higher ups and it's like you send what they ask of you and then you're gone. You get those canned responses. Okay, so I have been in court in Oklahoma for 4 years, and I took it to the appeals court. It took about a year plus for them to finally get around to it.
It's about average.
Pardon me?
That's about average. I'm sorry.
Right. Yeah. Well, right. And see, the thing is, there were many things in between that I could have gone to the appeals court with. You know, I could have gone with a fraudulent petition for dissolution of divorce to begin with. Okay, I could have gone for that because indeed there wasn't jurisdiction. Plus the attorney and the other party had actually emailed the notary back and forth to each other. And the reason I know that is because my ex, who kept trying to get me back and convince me he was like, okay, and going to get counseling and this and that. He had said, I'll even give you my passwords. And I said, Okay, it's not how I want to live, but okay right now. So in forgetting to delete, I was able to see, where he was sending back and forth between his attorney in Oklahoma, the petition, and they were doing a notary via email. Now that's illegal, not to mention the fact that he didn't have jurisdiction. There's about 100 reasons, literally, why this never should have happened in Oklahoma. And I do not recognize, and I wrote a letter to the appeals court as well as to the district court, that I do not recognize any of their orders, because as I've been arguing for 2 years now, you do not have jurisdiction over me.
Right.
So I finally got to that point. And so now, I mean, my judicial complaint, we're trying to focus on the judicial system and leave, and I care to leave my ex out of this, because had the judicial system actually been just, this would never be happening.
Right. I agree.
You know what I'm saying? So I don't need to nitpick him.
Right. And I think that a lot of people need to realize that their real fight is not necessarily with their ex. Their ex is just a participant in this, and they're only going to do what they're allowed to do for the court. And so the court is your real enemy, right, in this battle. And when people start to phase out of this, well, I hate my ex, look, I'm glad that you hate your ex, but your real battle is with the court system. And
I'm fortunate. We don't have children together. We don't have kids together, so we're not going through the child support and whatnot. He has a daughter who lives primarily with her mother in California, who is a doll, and I have 2 teenage sons. And so, but he doesn't owe me child support. I don't owe him child support. So the parenting thing has not been a part of it. That said, I will say that our marriage was born on fraud, and he did defraud me. It was a whirlwind marriage in 4 months. Stupid me.
Well, we always do that in hindsight. Hindsight is 2020.
We were married, and that's after me being a single mom since my kids were 2 and 4. Okay. Oh my gosh. This is a Christian professor. He's a lawyer. He's savvy. He's witty. He's adorable. He's kooky. Oh my gosh, he'll never hurt me. So I quickly married him after feeling that I was ready. You know what I mean? And then from that point on, he duped me into taking my name off of the house that we supposedly bought together. Purchase and sale was in both of our names. He had never seen the house. Chose to move to New Hampshire, and then immediately before the closing and before our marriage is when he said to me, Tanya, my financial person said that you really need to come off of the closing papers, but I'll put you right back on.
Yeah.
God,
well, and Bud,
and I'm dumb.
Yeah, Bud is in New Hampshire, so I mean, you're next door neighbors practically.
Yeah. I live right on the lake, Lake Winnipesaukee. So
me.
What I'm saying is, nice location. I'm easy to find. Just drive around the lake until you run into me.
It's a beautiful thing. I love New Hampshire. At least every season, but the winter. Okay, I gotta tell you.
Well, it's funny, guys. Well, as you were saying, Jay, you were talking about making mistakes, and you said hindsight 2020. I read a good meme the other day. I'm sorry, it's kind of irrelevant, but relevant, so I can fit it in. It said, I don't have brain farts. My brain completely shits its pants. I said, yeah, I've been there too. Yeah. So hey, you get a mulligan. We all that's called learning. What do we say, Jay? There are no mistakes in life, right? Just learning experiences. So that's
And I think a lot of things that we experience inside and outside of this movement. Look, Bud and I have said it 100,000 times. Whatever's meant to be is just going to be. Either you're standing in the hindrance of it happening, or you're helping it along the way. And so you've got that issue that you've dealt with family court, or have dealt with divorce court, obviously. and you've had the fraud that has been perpetrated. What was your aha moment that made you go, okay, I've experienced this, and now I'm going to start fighting for myself?
Fighting for myself? Well, okay. I've had a bunch of aha moments. I've learned the hard way more than one time. But what I would say is that, okay, I don't know, please don't roll your eyes, but an empath like me, you know, I've been an advocate for victims of domestic violence, and I've been and men and women, men and women. I have been an advocate for people in general that I felt were being compromised, taken advantage of, and been somebody that has been the what's the word I'm looking for? The underdog when they really need to be advocated for. Yeah. So it's really, I learned through my own mistakes that you need to advocate for the people that want to be advocated for, rather than try to fix somebody else's problem and make yourself overly important. I've made myself want to be more important than I am when I've tried to fix somebody else's life and solve everybody else's problem. And that was because I thought, well, I'm worth it. You need to listen to what I have to say because I can help you. And if I can't help you, then I must not be good enough. And I've done that with the wrong people. I am doing that with the right people now, with the people that have actually experienced injustices and abuse, and that come to me wanting help and recognizing my own weaknesses and my own strengths. My weakness has been fending for myself. Through fending for other people, I have become empowered and able to stand up for myself.
That's exactly
I have experienced terrific trauma in standing up for myself, from passing out a number of times through going through panic attacks with 10% oxygen at the courthouse, with them telling me you need to come back in, as I've got an IV, as I've got a face mask of oxygen, and and I'm literally paralyzed.
So the things that you've experienced, is that more along the lines of like a legal abuse syndrome?
You better believe it.
Right.
Yep.
Okay.
You better believe it.
Yeah, you use the term underdog. It's, and Jay will attest to this, that for me in my life, and I know for Jay and other people, it's been when I've been considered the genuine underdog, when really people underestimated me, that I knocked their head off, proverbially, figuratively, whatever it is. So being the underdog is the best thing in the world to be. No one expects anything. No one expected anything from Buster Douglas when he knocked out Mike Tyson, but I'll tell you what, the world heard it when he did. So again, you just go with your heart and never do anything to, again, people's approval is not needed. If you go with your heart, and you brought up another good point, is that, you're learning. We all are. And I think we've all learned, and Jay and myself do every day, that we don't know everything. There's been decisions that, as I discussed with my wife earlier tonight, that Jay, I said, it's funny because there's certain things that I thought would be absolutely no way, and it's worked. And I think vice versa. And it's made us both. We've grown. Jay and I have grown as men, and Pete and I, and we've grown, and Neely, we've all grown as friends. And that's what you need, a support system that encourages you and helps you learn and grow, not one that stunts you, or those but friends, as I call them, Jay, right? Oh, you're happy? Well, yeah, but don't get too happy. Don't get too happy. I know you're excited, but watch out for those people, Jay.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Jay and I were talking before the show. We were tuning in. I've never done the Zoom thing before, so but so one of the things that I said was something my now past brother has said is, we want to be right, don't we? We all want to be right, but does that mean that we're right now? It's really important to listen up. It's important to pay attention, not to just the vitriol and the hate, as you said. That's not what this is about.
Right.
And so when I was, my show became, my matter became a little bit public because it was on the Dr. Phil show, and people called out Dr. Phil for not calling a spade a spade. And then somebody from Oklahoma got in touch with me and said, hey, listen, there's a group of us that have gotten together, that we have some common, we have the courthouses in common. Is it okay if I say the courthouse and not the judge? that okay
Yeah.
with you?
Yeah.
Tulsa District Courthouse.
Mhm.
Okay. And mind you,
Right.
Oklahoma is very contaminated, but
Yep.
this particular group came out of the same group that I come from, which is, Tulsa District Court as a victim, but I'm standing up. We will swallow, but they don't fall down.
Right.
So, and they contacted me saying, geez, we've got a judge that, one of those judges has allegedly heisted a trust that is worth many millions of dollars. I have seen those forensics to that trust, by the way. I've seen where the name was forged, where it was never actually properly turned over. And it was very shortly after that, he wasn't a judge yet, he was an attorney. Very shortly after that attorney did this, that he was appointed as a special judge. Now that same presiding judge is involved in links of other very big estate heists. I have seen the forensics, not put them together myself. I can't take credit for that, but they're like, Tanya, we want you to be the face, and I'm like, oh, I can't. I'm still in my corner. I'm a piece of fungus over there. I'm crying. Oh, woe is me. But what brought me up was when this woman contacted me and said that her nephews, I believe it was her nephews, were running through the woods and they were being chased by two policemen, and there's good policemen, there's great judges, there's great DAs, there's great this, there's great that, but we're talking about the ones that aren't here, okay? Chasing her nephews through the woods, scared for their lives. Why? Because they're black in Oklahoma. Okay. One wound up in the hospital because he was going to die.
Right.
One wound up not dead, thank God, but very critical, still in horrific condition. And this was about, and that's what pushed me over the edge. I said, I can't turn my back on this. I'm being selfish. I'm feeling sorry for myself. And then suddenly I stood up and I created this page, Injustice in Oklahoma Exposed, which as of last night was either hacked or taken down. And so as a result, I've opened up another page just this morning, which we're up to almost 600 right now, but it's a group and it's called Journeys to Justice. And I'm calling it Journeys to Justice because the first judge on my case told me to take down my webpage called Journeying to Justice. Well, I know better now. They're not going to stop me from talking, because stopping me from talking is stopping me from standing up to the other people that need that support, that deserve that support, that deserve for their TNT TanyaTalks, where their voice is heard and their story is told, and let things get better.
Exactly. And
I got invited to that group. I got invited to that group today, actually. So I hadn't even had a chance to look at it yet, but I did get invited to it. So
good. And what we're seeing here, especially in Tanya's case, is that there's corruption in Oklahoma where it comes down to one particular judge, and this one particular judge is acting in their particular best interest financially, and there has been a support group created by Tanya to interact with those people who are in the state of Oklahoma that are dealing with that same judge. And there's at least 3-4, at least that many with that same judge. That I've heard some of their stories, and they're very compelling to the interest of, shall we say, Rule 211, which means the American Bar Association's Rule 2.11 has to do with monetary gains that are placed on the judge or the judge's family in a financial interest for a ruling. So these judges themselves should have disqualified themselves from the cases because they have a financial interest involved, but they have not done so.
Okay.
Yep.
Speaking of disqualifying, the reason first I want to, double back just a little bit. I have to say that it is not just Tulsa. There's small towns like Calvin, Oklahoma, that I've just had 3 podcasts in a row, which is like it's a domino effect. A lot of other little towns are saying, oh my gosh, I need to get on board. I need to file this and file that. This is happening here too. It's unfortunately, it's septic. It's throughout Oklahoma. And that's because Oklahoma was one of the first states to become organized. But the judge that was on my matter, the second judge, he was appointed after about a year. And when I saw him, when I actually went down for a hearing, after he was appointed as the second judge, I said, oh my gosh, this guy did a mediation for us before the very first hearing. So I put in a motion, and he was cruel to me. He screamed and yelled at me, and it ended quickly. Didn't treat me fairly at all. And so that ended, and went into the very first hearing with the first judge that was on the case. As a result of discovering this was the same judge, I did a motion for him to recuse himself, given that he had prior knowledge of the facts and matters of the case.
Right.
And as an automatic recusal, not to mention any perception, I'm trying to look for the word, anything that appears to be as though it would be a conflict of interest, that judge must recuse himself. Not to mention, he went to the same law school at the same time as my ex. And I pointed that out. And he refused to recuse himself. And guess who supported his decision with the facts in front of them? The appellate court.
Well, yeah. The appellate court.
Conflict of interest, big time.
Yeah.
You think?
Yeah. Yeah.
Not to mention they don't have jurisdiction. So here they are using all of the taxpayers' money, going on 4+ years now in Oklahoma, forcing a matter in Oklahoma where there isn't jurisdiction. How much money do you think that has cost the taxpayers?
Oh, I'm sure that's cost millions of dollars, because that's huge. It looks like there you go. Okay. But yeah, I would say that there's a real big issue in a lot of these cases that we're dealing with conflict of interest. Conflict of interest could be anything, and all it has to do is have the appearance. The actual law says has to have the appearance of being a conflict of interest, in which a judge needs to recuse themselves. So let's say if I'm getting divorced and my ex works at State Farm and the judge in his past worked at State Farm, well, there could be a conflict of interest because, those two people could have worked together. It only has to have the appearance. So in that matter, basically a judge would need to recuse themselves and put another judge on that case who wouldn't have that same conflict of interest. So we're seeing that a lot in different cases, and it's unfortunate that we have that. And if you're a judge and you have number one, if you have someone who's coming before you and they're saying, "Hey, look, I need you to recuse yourself," look at the matters in the case. Look at the fact: is there a perception that maybe possibly I could have a bias in this case? And if so, please recuse yourself. Don't make us take these cases to federal court and make you one of the willing participants in the case, because unfortunately we're going to have to do that.
Absolutely. You damn Skippy.
Yeah.
I'm not laying down. I am not laying down.
Tanya, did you ever call the ethics board when all this was going on? Did you reach out to the ethics board when it first started, or how long did it take to find out?
I've reached out to the Judicial Committee. I have reached out to the Bar Association about the other attorney, which is a litany of violations. These people, I got to tell you, they belong in jail. Maybe a cushy one where they can play golf, but they belong in jail. The infractions on me is what they do to other people as well.
They need to have accountability. They need to have accountability, because you have to remember, a lot of these people, when they went to law school, they didn't know they were going to be taught just to prosecute people, but that's all they were taught. And so now they have evolved, I call it, and they are seeing now, because I know a lot of, throughout all this, I've met some really good attorneys. I thought they were all bad. I used to think that, but they are dealing with them too. And then if they try to speak the truth, then the bar will take their bar card away and won't let them practice law and will retaliate against these people that used to be.
I know a number of them. I know a number of them in New Hampshire.
Right.
I mean, oh my goodness.
I think you're kind of breaking up there, Tanya, for some odd reason.
I had a case that I was actually working on a while ago, and it's we're actually going back in on it. It's a judge had made a ruling on a person that I knew, and they slammed this person in court, slammed them, made them pay attorney fees and the whole nine, and I come to find out they came to me with the case. So I did a little bit of investigation on the judge and the actual attorney. Comes to find out that they actually went to law school together. When I tell you the case only took 15 minutes and they slammed that person, so they're leaving it on the back burner right now because all the supporting evidence and such, they're going to try to get that decision overturned and removed from the record.
Right.
So
and I think that leads into a discussion about the fact that, okay, you're asking attorneys to police other attorneys. That is kind of like somebody coming to me with a story and saying, hey, you know, Bud Veno said all of this stuff and he was a real jerk to me. Do you think that I'm going to take your side of the case? I mean, I know Bud Veno like I know the back of my hand, so it's just not going to work.
Right. Right. I mean, Jay and I discussed that too. And that's
corruption.
Yeah, absolutely. I think everybody's making some good points, Neely, in terms of the exposure, Jay and Pete. And I'll tell you what, as Jay said, it's so widespread. It's such a cancer at this point. You know, and this is the type of interaction we need to kind of come up with solutions.
Right, and that's what leads us into the next part here, Tanya, is solutions on these issues, because we deal with these things a lot. They're so interwoven into the fabric of what we deal as a society right now. How do we ever break that monotony to where we are getting down to the factual information? We're going into court with due process, not prima facie nonsense, which is unconstitutional and its very basis. And if anybody does not know what prima facie means if somebody comes to you and they say, I'm going to take you to court, and you have to prove your innocence rather than they have to prove that you're guilty. That's what prima facie is.
Hey, base, I need the charger like real quick.
So yeah, so I would say the biggest deal for us in this is, how do we resolve these issues, Tanya? I'm going to give you some time on that.
Okay. Can I, prior to moving on to my thoughts, again, you know, I think that probably many have thought about this. I just want to share with you the biggest and most shocking injustice, if you ask me, and as I've shared with others, or others have shared with me as they've heard my story. Well, first of all, my story is nothing compared to so many others. Okay, it really isn't. I mean, we all go through our own pain. We're all affected in our own way. But if you ask me, it's nothing compared to others. But the trial, during the trial, that they didn't have, which also included a subject matter jurisdiction hearing. It's a joke. It's all online. You can see it all online. I asked for a next of friend. The reason I asked for a next of friend was because of two things. One, I have ADD, and I had been on ADD medication, which is like for the comprehension for the it's not the behavioral kind. So what if it is? But in my case, it isn't. It was to be able to put papers together, you know, handle the many layers and facets of whether it's education or, you know, in this case, legal matters. It really helps to be on an ADD medication. Well, right. My doctor had taken me off of it because it was exacerbating my symptoms. Directly related to this case, a panic attack, anxiety, passing out. So they said, you need to come off the ADD medication because we know it's a little bit of an upper, right? So I came off of it. And so I was having panic attacks and I was passing out and crazy, stupid stuff that, you know, here I am, the strong woman, I'm a warrior, you know, but here I am. I'm like not able to manage my own emotions, you know, heal thyself, because I am a healer for other people. And so I came off the ADD medication. And so I asked the judge through proper motion for an extra friend so I could have an extra friend with me.
Right.
And through my in-camera medical records, to view my medical records and allow me to have an extra friend to take, given my ADA need,
Right.
okay? My legitimate ADA needs, if he had looked at my medical records, I asked him to look at them in camera and make a determination based on that.
Right.
Not only did he refuse.
So for those out there that don't know what ADA is, she's saying Americans with Disabilities Act. Yeah.
Right. Because my ADHD, which is ADD, was not being treated. Therefore, I really did need some help with my files, with taking notes, to hand things to me and whatnot. I was prepared, but I'm not able to keep track. Some people might want to roll their eyes, go for it. For me, it's real. Okay. When I was diagnosed with it, it was an epiphany. Oh my God, that makes sense. You know what I mean? So he denied me those rights.
Right.
I did a motion for reconsideration. He denied me those rights without even looking at my medical records.
Right.
And I show up, I do what I'm supposed to do, and I show up. And I start having anxiety attacks. I dismiss myself. I get myself under control. He allowed the dog and pony show to continue, made himself look good. Okay. Then, and then I wound up, long story short, passing out 2 different times, being treated 2 different times in that courtroom, and then being summoned back into court. Okay. The second time, the EMTs looked at me and they said no, and they brought me to the hospital.
Right. So basically what you're saying is before we can even get to a trial in some of these things, the judges need to look at your ADA requests and your medical records, match those up, number one, and make sure that they are not denying those ADA requests, number one. That's probably one of the biggest things that I see too, that you're talking about there. So we got ADA requests would be a great thing to make sure that these judges are not ignoring.
It's like a whack-a-mole. It's what is it? The fraudulent petition? Is it the I mean, I've got so much stuff. I mean, the judge pretending that there was never a direct contempt charge against the other party, and it's buried somewhere, yet I've got a copy of it.
Right.
You know, there's so much stuff. So yes, he denied that. He denied that. I took a medication to go back in that courtroom to comply. I found myself slurring. I asked him to if we could continue this the next day, which was dedicated for the next day, and he refused me, and even struck that from the record.
Right. So then we're
recording of that, but you'll never find that on the transcript. And they refused to allow my recording to go forward.
Right.
I think there needs to be cameras in the courtroom. I'm sorry at this point, you know. They can afford cameras in every courtroom in America.
There are a lot of states that are doing that, Neely, and the problem comes in where you see like states like Illinois who say, okay, we're going to go ahead and put cameras in every single courtroom, but here's the problem: you can no longer bring your cell phone into court and record the case.
No.
And
I was never allowed to do that anyway. I couldn't. You couldn't even bring them in the courtrooms. They would not allow phones in the courthouse that I fought in.
Yeah.
They told me there was nothing that said not to, but I got to tell you, after I learned what I learned, I'd bring that darn thing in there anyways.
They will search. They will search me.
I took off. I fled. I thought I was going to die.
I thought about hiding it a couple times, like how I could actually get it in the courtroom without anyone knowing, like in a steel toe boot. Like I had to go through because I was getting that hurt. You know.
I'm not even going to touch that.
Now we're smuggling cameras into the courtroom.
Well, when you go to jail illegally and you almost get killed and poisoned, my mom got poisoned in court. They tried to kill us.
Geez.
So.
Yeah.
And I had a stroke, by the way. I never told anyone this. I had a minor stroke. I didn't even know about ADA. I didn't even know about how to ask for that I just never knew about it. You know, I mean, they wouldn't have gave it to me anyway, so it doesn't matter now, but
Right.
you know.
And there are some great ADA advocates out there, and I'm going to be in touch actually with Janine Eldringkamp, who actually she's on our board of directors. She's an amazing young lady out of Iowa right now, but she has to come all the way to the state of Illinois to help people out because there are no ADA advocates certified in the state of Illinois that can be in the courtroom right now. So she does a lot of traveling and helps out a whole lot of people. So the ADA, my hat's off to those people who are advocates for that. Because there's so much involved. I mean, people that have memory issues, I'm one of them. I can't retain a whole lot of memory, so I have to write things down all the time, or I have to record them. And the issues with those states that are not allowing cameras in the courtroom right now is that, yes, they have their own cameras in the courtroom. They can record the court proceedings, and they will give you transcripts of that. So still, you're still
more money.
Yeah, and you got to pay for those
But if
transcripts.
they're honest, if they're not honest, what good is it? I've requested their recordings. They refused to give them to me. I wanted to see if they matched up mine. And
Right.
about recordings, by the way, just when you bring in your recorder, the most obvious is the least obvious. You just put it right down.
Listen, where there's a will, there's a way. There's many devices out there.
And I think this whole thing with not having recording devices is really denying due process. I think that it really is. If you don't have a cell phone, okay, I understand that. You don't want a cell phone in the courtroom because you don't want it ringing. I got that. But a recording device, an electronic recording device, there should be nothing wrong with that. Recording the and having a small little recorder about this size, which I have, and taking that into the courtroom and saying, hey, look, I just want to record this so I can have a memory of what transpired during the proceedings. So I can write it all down for myself. That way I know how to defend my case.
Well, nothing is actually submissible unless you actually pay for a transcript and they got to write that all off. But it's for your own memory, like you're saying, because sometimes I know what happens in court. So I have a good memory when it comes to what I know what the judge said specifically. So what I'll do is I'll turn around and I'll memorize, kind of much where it happened. I have that type of a memory. And then I'll look in the transcript and I'll be like, oh, okay, so they didn't take that out. You know what I mean? But all the transcript companies that I've worked with over the past, I'd say the past year, I have a very good rapport with. So none of that kind of goes on where I'm at, but I've seen it happen in other states.
Exactly. So we definitely have the ADA. We've got absolutely have to go after some of these states on the recordings of the transcripts for these court cases, obviously. And then we get into due process of the law. That's an absolute. If you're walking into a courtroom and let's say you are in a proceedings over child support and you're in arrearage and they want to hold you in contempt. Remember, this is prima facie. You are guilty until you prove yourself innocent, meaning that you have to show for a fact to say that you cannot provide whatever that child support amount is and why. And a lot of the times, even though you prove that, beyond a shadow of a doubt, you prove that, they're still finding a lot of people in contempt of court. We experience that with a lot of veterans that are out there going through these certain proceedings. We experience that with a lot of people who have lost their job by no fault of their own. They get laid off or whatever it may be. We experience that with a lot of cases that are in DCF and CPS, where a situation arises where the parent who is not even in that child's life has a conviction of some sort, or they're on drugs or whatever it may be, and they're holding the parent who has the custody in responsibility for the other parent's actions, who is never even around the kids. We see that a lot, and that needs to stop. And the only way it can really stop is if we have due process in a courtroom, where you walk in and you are treated as an equal and your rights under the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, are protected. Unfortunately, that's just not happening. What do you think about that, Tanya?
No, you're right. As a matter of fact, a gentleman from the same courtroom and the same judge was in touch with me. One of many people, quite frankly. Some are just too afraid to come out because of the retaliation. It's real. The stories are nightmares.
Yes.
And he had shared with me that his story, verified story, I bet very well, and all of a sudden, before you know it, the mother of the children, and this happens both ways, okay? The mother of the children is living out of state, and 70% of his income is going towards alimony, which there was never discussion of alimony before. It was only punishment because he was trying to correct the judge with the calculations of the child support.
Wow.
70% of his income. And she's out of state, and she's where she did not have permission to go to. And now he's all of a sudden losing his driver's license, his professional license as a flight nurse. So he said to me, quote unquote, he said, this is how people become deadbeat dads. As far as I'm concerned, deadbeat moms too, because these judges aren't necessarily biased. Some are, some aren't, against the genders, okay? But what the judges act on, if you ask me, the relationships that they have with the attorneys that are in front of them, and how that spins into what's going to ultimately happen to the parties in the court.
Right.
Okay. And that's why I strongly feel that judges and or attorneys, I think it's more likely for attorneys, need to get out of Dodge, and they need to be circulated after a year or 2 years. But
That
these
could be
judges and these attorneys know each other, establish relationships, have ex parte meetings that affect the livelihood of the parties involved. Is absolutely just the worst thing imaginable that you can do when it's all about the child's rights, the child's needs. That's what it's about, is the child's needs. I'm not saying parents don't have rights, but let's put the kid first. And if the kid is better off without one of those two parents being in the picture, so be it. But that is very, very rare. So people need to get off their bandwagon of their own rights. It's about the kid.
Yes.
I agree.
I absolutely agree with that. And I know we're getting close to time here on our time with you. So I want to definitely give you an opportunity to give your show a plug out there, and definitely give Marty Oakley's a plug out there. We love Marty Oakley and what she's doing. She's been around for a while doing this. So we love her and appreciate her.
Yeah, well, okay. So Marty Oakley, it's Marty Oakley TS Radio. My show, and she has a bunch of shows, a whistleblower show. We're picking up the whistleblowers again, Washington, D.C., August or July 30th to August 1st. I'm a panelist on the show, actually, which is really cool. Panelist at the summit. Marty Oakley has given me the venue for TNT TanyaTalks, where your voice is heard and your story is told. And on Sunday nights at 8 o'clock Eastern time, I've changed it to accommodate those that I mostly, standing up for that part of the country. 7 o'clock's a little easier for them than 6, and which means it's 8 for me. And I'm also going to be on one of, we're picking out a time slot for Fridays as well. My big thing about what I'm doing going forward, standing up for people, and my thought process that you had asked before is there's a bunch of us little groups, and yes, we're little, but all together we add up, and we're huge. We are so much bigger than everybody else. There's these bad, evil people that are allowing this to happen. We're big, big, big. There are a few moles in the mix. There's a few people that have egos that get in the way. But what we need to do, if you ask me, and of course it might be easier said than done, is get together at a place like the summit and say, okay, we all have our groups, but what are we going to do to come together and beat Goliath? What are we going to come together rather than having one march here, one march there, here, blah, 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 blah. We need to show up in the same place at the same time, with ego set aside, but the mission of our constitutional rights being met, due process being met, and stand up in a non-partisan manner, okay, for what we all deserve, is to live freely and in accordance to the Bill of Rights and our Constitution.
Right. Exactly. 100%. Thank you so much for coming
Thank
on.
you. Thank you,
We
Tanya.
greatly appreciate you, Tanya.
Thank you,
and
Tanya.
we'll see you then.
Thank
My
you
name-
so much. Hope to see you again.
Yes.
All right.
Really
Yo,
appreciate
Tanya,
you guys.
keep doing what you're doing. Keep your chin up, Tanya. We're gonna be pulling for you. Keep rocking, girl.
All
When you're
right.
down, remember you said don't ever stay down, Tanya. You keep getting up. I'm always gonna be in your ear. Get up, Tanya. Get up. Good job. We love you.
All right. Awesome here. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and move right along here. Great job here in our first hour, Tanya Hathaway. Just a wonderful story. Not necessarily wonderful, but I would say how she took this oppression that was bogging her down and bogging several other people down and created something amazing that can help and empower people by getting together and discussing your stories and empowering each other and helping each other through. So great stuff. Awesome stuff here. So we're gonna move along here, bud. Already.
Yeah. I can't believe it, Jay.
I can't believe it's not
Show's on
better.
already. Oh yeah, absolutely. And speaking of unity and people coming, Jay, together with no egos, I will announce that Mr. Mark Ludwig is supposed to be calling into the show during the second half. So listeners and viewers out there, stay tuned. Mr. Ludwig so graciously wrote to me and said, Jay, well, I don't know if I was supposed to call you or vice versa. And he had me stumped. I said, I have no idea. So I got time. I said, well, perfect. Come on. And I can give you some flack when you do. So we're excited to have, even though we have no idea who's supposed to call who, we're excited. Mark will be on. He's got a lot of, as he put it, Jay, tidbits to share in progress with Americans for Equal Share Parenting.
Awesome.
I'm sure we're going to announce some events, Jay. We've got a lot coming up in the second half.
Yeah, definitely. We're going to go ahead and we're going to get right into, and it looks like I believe Pete is going to take over the role tonight.
Yes, he is.
Yeah, and so we're going to get
Am I?
right in.
Anything that goes wrong, blame Pete.
Yeah.
What, you don't have the list?
I don't know.
Look what you see. See this face? Jay, you see this face? He's like, wait a minute.
No, Jay. No, I'm feeling, I can't be caught too much off guard tonight. I'm feeling pretty good. But no, I would have had to snap to it if you were serious.
I'm on it, man. I'm on it.
So I can act cool, calm, and collected now and say, oh, no, Pete, I knew you were joking.
Awesome here. So we'll play this real quick and we'll get right in to our events and birthdays.
All right. Okay, so for events, let's start with events. Monday, July 16th, 10 a.m. and to 12 p.m. Clark County Family Court Protest, first annual. Monday, July 16th, Clark County Family Court. See Family Forward Project for more details. July 22nd, Sunday, Family versus Courts, 2 p.m. All Family Court across America. See Family Forward Project for more details. July 26th, Thursday, Platform for Platforms Conference. The event was actually canceled. July 28th, Saturday, Dads Can Too, Sliders Night, 5:30 p.m., Robin Roberts Stadium. See Dads Can Too for more details. August 5th, Sunday, Americans for Equal Share Parenting, Colorado, Capitals for Kids Tour, 6 p.m., Warwick, Denver. See Americans for Equal Share Parenting for more details. August 18th, Saturday, ILFFE, annual meeting and cookout, 12 p.m., Bridgeport, Illinois. See Illinois Fathers for Equality for more details. August 18th, Saturday, Save Our Children, supporting DCYF reform in New Hampshire. 12 p.m. New Hampshire State House. See Thomas McCarthy for more details. September 12th, Wednesday, Americans for Equal Shared Parenting. They're making their ways all over. I love it. Capitals for Kids Tour in Austin, 6 p.m. Austin, Texas. See Americans for Equal Shared Parenting for more details. Next page. September 26th, Wednesday, Capitals for Kids, Concord, New Hampshire, 5 p.m. See Americans for Equal Shared Parenting for more details. Birthdays. Here we go. Hopefully I get all the names right this time. I haven't done it yet to get every single name right. Let's make this attempt. Birthdays today. Oh, the first one. Here we go. No, I'm only kidding. Tracy Ann McCarthy. Caitlin Munsterman. Melissa Grover. I'm sorry. Melissa Grover. Paulette McDonald. Shelley Hale. Wednesday, Christy Ashley, Chris Raldolph, Alan Holmes, Diana Sharp, Brad Bolin. Thursday, Kimberly Johnson, Sherry Wilmot, Jesse Maberry, Joe Lynch. Friday, Joanna Furman, Eddie Mejias. I think I got that right, but that's your favorite one. Greg Snellman.
This is enjoyable. Yeah. I know what Jay and I are enjoying this. Keep going, brother. You're doing great.
Greg Snellman, Larry Reynolds, Angela Kloss, Bethany Swindle. Saturday, Sid Narcio, Summer Prater, Lorraine Fogel, Bree Scott, Rose Briggs, Kathy Ann, Marilyn Bard, Brian Miller, Sherry Shreen, Kevin Gaza, and Amy Sargent. Sunday, Catherine Hine, Dan Jackson, Kate Fawkes, Chris Dorsey, Michael Smith, Cian Nicole, Todd Scott. Monday, Pamela Pattern, Angela Fellers, Laura Kratz. Last page. Jessica Ray, Chance Atkins, Carlos Granados, Candy Williams, David Vasquez, Robert Collette, Jamie Petit. Happy birthday from the FFN fam. Many, many more to come. It's your day. Celebrate that day as best as you can.
All right. And as always, the Far From Old Radio Show is copywritten. And for those out there who are trying to copy it, unfortunately, just to let you know, you cannot do that without express written consent of the Far From Old Radio Show, the staff, and the board of directors. So thank you guys so much. Happy birthday to all of you out there. And I've got Mr. Bud Veno back here. Bud, how are you doing?
Yo, my brother from another mother, J Money Moss, July 10th, baby, 2018. Great first half, Jay. As Pete mentioned all the birthdays, happiest of birthdays to all you folks celebrating birthdays now and throughout the week. As Pete said, make it your day. It's your special day. It's the day that you grace the world with your presence. Jay, awesome first half. As I said, I know it was enjoyable. We've got Neely Petrie waiting in the wings too, I believe. I'm not sure if she's still on with us. I see her screen out. So if she's not on, we're going to keep rolling.
Yeah, we're definitely going to keep rolling. Yeah,
Jay, we've got Mark as I said, Mark Ludwig in the second half. But until then,
yeah, he'll be coming on like right around 8:30, and in the mid part here of our show. He's got some updates and things going on. So very exciting stuff going on with Americans for Equal Share Parenting, Mark Ludwig, and so many things that they do behind the scenes that people don't even know about until they kind of let those things go. And there's a lot more to it than I think that they're even not letting out. And it looks like we got Neely back on with us. Neely, great first hour as always. And I know that you're excited because you have some things coming up obviously tomorrow, getting on with your case and things going on. So very excited for that as well.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I will let the people closest to me know. I'm gonna, for a while until I know exactly what's going on, because I'm gonna be going really high up. You know, I'm gonna keep it on the down low.
Mm-hmm.
We have to make some big changes here.
Yes.
We have to. Our country and our kids depend on us. They need to be saved. They needed to be saved, you know, years ago, and it's gotten out of control. And now everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, how are we going to fix this?" You know.
Yeah.
But I am keeping my spirits up. I'm keeping my faith like I have this whole time, and I believe that, you know, this next, you know, election is very important to everybody. And I will let you know that since there is voter fraud still going on, do paper ballots.
Yep.
Do
That's a
that.
good suggestion.
It is going on. So if you think that it's not, you know, do some research on voter fraud, because it is, and you don't know if you're being affected by it or not. So using paper ballots.
Yeah, that's a great suggestion. Obviously, I mean, we got a lot of people that are dealing with that in different states. So I've heard of different people being bussed in. I've heard of different people being going through and having illegal immigrants who are actually voting, who are not even citizens of the United States. So be very mindful of that. Make sure that you get in very early, register to vote if you're out there, and make your vote count by getting a paper ballot like Neely suggested, because obviously paper, hey, if you're getting one of those paper ballots and you're voting and you're sending your vote in, would be a good idea to maybe even just make a copy of it before you send it in. You never know when something could come up. Somebody gives you a phone call and says, "Hey, look, we think we got voter fraud. Who did you vote for?" Well, okay, I've got a copy of it, you know.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's a good idea too. I never thought about making a copy of it, but yeah, that is good.
And I'm going to make a suggestion to everyone out there right now that will undeniably help every single one out there in your case. Every single person out there in your case, I want you to take just a small amount of your time and go out there. If you don't already have it and you've got a smartphone, I want you to go out there. The Google Store and the Apple Store both have this. It's a program that's called Cam Scanner. Cam Scanner on your phone will do you wonders. Why will it do you wonders? Because you can take a document, you can take a picture of that document, and it's basically acts as a scanner. And so it scans that document for you, and it will put it in a PDF form, and you can save it to your email. Or if you want to send it to somebody else who's helping you out in your case, or your lawyer, you want to send them anything, download Cam Scanner. It will save you so much. It's a free download. It doesn't cost you anything, but it will save you so much money and so much time. So
I'll tell you what, Jay loves to promote this. Jay loves this I can tell you folks, he's so excited about it, even on a private level. He definitely believes in this. He pushes it. So
yeah,
I used to have one like that, Jay. I used to have one. I don't anymore because you know, I haven't been having to do as many documents. But you know, I used
you
to.
You can do it with anything as well. If I don't know if anybody can I'll kind of show this on my screen here. But when we first got our business cards, if you don't have a business card, please see us, send us a line at thefarfromnormalradioshow.com. We'll get you a business card. But our business card, Pete sent me these, and I'm not sure if you can see those yet, but he sent me this.
Yeah.
And it's on a Cam Scanner. So, I mean, you can use this for anything. It's a great thing to kind of send along to people. It's an amazing tool. can be used for anything. If you don't have Cam Scanner, please get it because it will save you money, big time money.
Yes, and as Jay showed there, we have some. We've got a lot of things that Pete had done for us marketing wise. We got some bumper stickers, some kind of prototype things we're trying out. So it's been working great. So we thank Pete for that. He's kind of heading up that venture.
And Pete's got the bumper sticker right there, and then
there you go.
I'll put it up. Pete, go ahead and talk for a second.
Oh, I'm here.
Okay, there you go.
Pete, Pete, in terms of that bumper sticker, Pete, you had that done pretty quickly. I know that I think we all had packages at our house before we even knew they were finished. You were
my boys are full bleed printing here in Park Slope, man. They're on point. They make quality stuff all the time, man. They're good people too.
Sure. Well, that's good. Yeah, well, you've spoken highly of them through the whole way. That's good. Hey, we want to promote. Like I said, Pete's a doer. He had those. When he says he's going to do something, he says he's coming to your house. Expect a knock on the door before you.
As what was that? Who's that? Edmund Welch got a. As well.
Ed Welch. I think I don't know if I mentioned, but I was jealous, Pete. Now, did you went over to Ed's house? Ed of Disgusted Dad's fame, for the few that might not know out there.
Yeah. Me and Ed hung out for a couple hours. We shot the shit. It was awesome conversations. Definitely planning on doing things in the future, man. I love him. Very humble guy. I actually went to go meet Douglas Stantec out in Jersey the other day. I posted some pictures up there. I'm making my rounds, man. I'm out there. You know what I mean?
He's a mover and a shaker. He likes to rub those elbows. This
I love it, man.
Is right up his alley. Well, and little teeny hints out, Jay. We will have a satellite station pretty soon, and I bet you we're going to see Pete sleeping there. I get it. If all else fails and you can't find Pete, look in the studio, Neely.
Yeah.
There's going to be a whole lot coming down the pipe with us because we're planning on a whole lot of different things, different avenues. Very, very, very shortly, we'll be trying to put up a website, which will be thefarfromnormalradioshow.com. But we haven't. It's still in the works. So
well, speaking of Allison, because she's my wife, my beautiful wife is going to help us with that. She's been working on things. And she did it again, guys. And God bless her. She brings me food, but she brings me in these chicken fingers. I love you, baby, but I'm sitting there. See, so some of the stuff I'm doing is for the show, but I'm making it look somewhat important but I'm actually like a salivating dog. I have my self-control. I have a lot. I did mute once, and then I remembered I had the volume on. I said, well, geez, I bet they don't hear me chomping. So thank you to my wife. And yes, we are, as Jay said, we're working on that website. We've got so much in the works that's come so fast. It's just a matter of trying to get it all and delegate it properly, and everybody knows what page we're all on, and that's been the hardest thing. And it's all going to come together. It's a great problem to have.
We're growing. We're going to be doing new things, and we are all working on different individual things. And when something really big goes down, which it's going to, I mean. We've all been fighting for too long. For it not to,
What's that old, from my fellow 40-somethings, what's that song, boys? The Cypress Out, when the goes down, you better be ready.
Cypress Hill.
Far From Normal's ready, baby. And our first guest was ready. Mark Ludwig is ready in a little bit. We're all ready. We're all doing great things. And when I say we all, I'm talking about people in the movement, people in this push, in this battle. The ones, as our first guest said, who are down on their face and getting up, who are saying, wait a minute. This blood doesn't taste too bad. I think I'm going to spit it out and get up. Absolutely.
Yeah, I tell you, I tell people all the time, and I got, I'm going to give that person a shout out later on tonight because they were going through a tough time, but, they reached out to me and everything like that. But the whole thing is, like I always hashtag it, never give up, never surrender. And listen, people, it's about perception. I'm a firm believer in it. I'm a firm believer in karma. I surround myself with good people, got life coaches. We got everybody on board. So there's no excuse not to take people from these groups and these movements to assist you in becoming a better person and fighting, because there is no losers in court. You don't lose. It's you take that, what you perceive to be a loss, and you take that for later on to fight that issue to get what you want in the end result. If that makes any sense. And I say that
It makes
Go ahead.
perfect sense, Pete. Thank you. It makes perfect sense. And with what you use that word perception, it's exactly the same perception in terms of our first guest talking about her anxiety in court. I see that a lot. And it's not minimizing that fear. We've all been there. But I'm going to be honest with you, and Jay and Pete know, I don't have to deal with that court stuff anymore, thankfully. But my attorney toward the end would have to nudge me awake. I don't, again, it's perception. It's what you build up in your head. I sit there and I'll put my glasses on in court and look at you like I would in class when I was in high school. It's the same thing. And it still works. And I get what we've done. It's all in how you take it. I can go in there too. Oh my God.
I'm ready to argue. I would be a good litigation.
When I was going,
of course.
When I was going pro se.
Make you look. I want to prove that you're lying, and if I know that you're lying, I'm gonna prove it in court.
Well, the wonderful thing, and I know my attorney Steve loved the man. Just talked to him yesterday. So, great guy. But the one thing that was great, and Jay and Pete, now, some other people know, is I had gone pro se for, I think, about a year, and I had already decimated her attorney in every way. So I will say, as wonderful as my attorney is, he definitely, I helped him out in that sense. So when I went in, it was. I used to sit in my before court. I'm like, this is, because I'd get myself all hyped because I went in there too and I would have everything ready. I just had fun. But I'm like, wow, it's weird, Allison. I don't have to do anything besides bring my pillow. And, again, and what I say too, guys, it's all perception. It's all what you build up in your head. Stay with your heart. Again, and it's the same with what Pete said about that outcome. It's all whatever. There's no such thing as a loss. A loss for me, it just means, okay, what do I do the next time so I can win? That's all it is.
And I said it too in one of the videos I just did. I said that, you listen, the beauty of it is it's about how you look at it. Like if you come out of court and you're like, oh, I lost this, I didn't get this. You know what? There's 1,000 other people out there that you can help out with that loss that can actually be a win for them.
Yes,
and what we share your experiences from court. You're not doing anything wrong. There is no silencing you. You're not doing anything illegal. You're sharing your experiences, which is your right to do. And you have a right to do that. So if you're helping other people, it might not apply to everybody's case, but they might be able to take little tidbits from here, from there, and apply it to their case to get the end result that they're looking for. But in the end result, it's all about the child. But people tend to not realize that, and they're going for their adversary all the time. I know that from experience. I can speak that.
Well, what I want to say in that too, real quick, Neely, and I'll let you continue. You have to look at it like this. And Jay and I mentioned Jay a lot because we've had discussions for years now. If you look at things, as we just talked about wins and losses, and say in court you don't get what you want. If you can look at it, and Pete, we're all learning to do that, as I wasn't supposed to right now. There's a reason. There's something bigger coming in. And we have all pumped ourselves in private like that. Well, it wasn't supposed to be. And every time I've kept that in mind and said, wait a minute, okay, I didn't get what I wanted. There's a reason because I'm supposed to get more in the future.
Right.
The universe was saying, no, this isn't it. We're going to give you, this isn't, you're not going to drop a bomb. You're going to not drop a damn nuke, baby. So I didn't say, okay, so I didn't get what I wanted. That just means I have a bigger present coming. I'm so excited. That's why when I say I don't give up, it's a very benevolent thing. When you don't care, you don't worry.
Right.
And you do what you can do. You do the best from your heart. You know you're doing right, and you let the chips fall where they may.
Right.
The best revenge is living well. And again, as we mentioned too, focus on what you should be focusing on. If you're always writing or thinking, oh, my ex, start to focus again. I know it's hard, but remember tunnel vision on the child and what is best for them. And sometimes
that's what it's all about.
Yeah, and that can be hard to do. But again, it's perception. Again, it's what you will and won't allow. You teach people how to treat you, Jay. And I'll end with this, with just that. You teach people how to treat you. And if the only way there's drama, I see that a lot too times. Oh, there's drama. You allow drama. You allow and don't allow what you want in your life. People come to me with drama, which they don't, because I want to go, I don't want to hear this. Go to the person's life.
Right.
When it comes to, I have all this drama in my life. I don't. You know why? Because I say, I don't want to deal with that. Yep. In terms of people cutting you down. Our first guest I could see was starting to get empowered. Tanya was going to start to get empowered. And that's what we're seeing. And that's what I try to keep people up on that pedestal. Yep. Keep looking in the mirror and telling yourself that you're the best. I don't mean, Oh, I'm kind of good. No, the best. There's nobody better than Neely Petrie. There's nobody better out there than J Money Moss, Pete, the real deal McNeil, and of course, Bud Veno. Yeah, there's a big difference between conceited and self-assured, baby. A big, big difference.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think that there's a lot of people who go into these courtrooms and they feel as if that when they walk into the courtroom that it must be a life or death instance where you have to win, or if you don't win, the world is going to end. And quite frankly, it's not. This is a war. This is not a battle. This is a war. And in wars, you're going to lose battles. You're going to lose little fights. It's just going to happen. It's inevitable. Every war that we've ever been in the United States, we've lost some battles. But in the end, we win wars. Why do we win wars? Because we see the overall picture. That's why.
Here's the thing, you know, and I know it's like a go nowhere subject, but when parents realize that neither one of you are going to win in court, eventually it might happen after 10 years, 11 years, maybe some 2 and 3 years. They got lucky. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But the money and all this money that's being thrown away, 5,000 retained, 10,000 for this one, 5,000 for this, 100,000, 200,000, 8, 10 years on each party, on each side. So you're talking about $250,000. Think about your kid. You just threw away your kid's college fund.
Yeah.
You threw away a brand new BMW for your kid. And I'm not even exaggerating. Think about it. 400,000. You can put your kid in any college you want. Okay. You can buy your kid a brand new car with no problem, cash up. If you both throwing away that type of money, when one of those parents realize, if they're not so adamant about getting the other parent and go for the equal shared parenting and work together and eliminate the courts, they will understand. Right, exactly. Co-parent, parallel parent. I got 1,000 names for that one. But the whole thing is that you will realize how much easier your life will be. You're not always going to agree on everything. You're always going to have your hiccup. But leave the courts at it. You know, it's not worth the money. You're out there working overtime or doing whatever you're doing. You're hustling to make that money. What? To go back to court to pay your lawyer so your lawyer can sit in $1 million house and go away to fancy vacations with their children.
Yeah.
Think about that, people. Like I'm putting that out there to everybody watching the show. Think about that.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And we've got it. How we in the court system is we don't buy into the same bullshit that we've been listening to for the last 100 years. It seems like. Well, what has the court system been around? 200 and some odd years. That the court system's been around and screwing one parent or the other. So understand in the 70s, that's when it hit the fan. And we all knew that. But the fact is, it's been around for this long, and parents have been screwed out of this. Children have been screwed out of having a parent in their life for some odd reason for over 200 years. And how do we resolve that system is we don't buy into it anymore. Why are you buying into the same propaganda that has been sold to you that hasn't resulted in anything good for the last 200 years? Stop buying into the bullshit.
Yeah,
I mean, it'd be nice if you could change the judges. Well, yeah, it'd be nice if the judges were held certain judges. I'm not saying all judges. Certain judges were held accountable and just stop with the violation of litigant rights. No, you give sanctions, you give this. That shit will all end. It will all end. If I went into court and I was violating a court order, okay, or an enforcement order or any order, and the judge turned around and hit me with 10 grand or 5 grand or 3,000 for each issue, I'm going to stop my shit.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Neely, go ahead.
Go ahead, Neely. I'm sorry.
It's all right. No, I just was saying that, you know, the lawyers and the judges eat lunch together. They go to dinner together. Their kids go to school with each other. They're friends. You know, they have formed a family just like how we are in the movement supposed to be joining, being a family for each other. And that's what they're scared of now because we are coming together. But they all know each other. So they're laughing at you. I mean, they think this is a joke. When you enter into that courtroom, when you file that divorce, or you say, I'm not getting this, I'm mad at him, just for some little reason, he did this wrong, or even if he cheated, so what? There's a million fish in the sea. Go find another guy. Don't think about money. Don't think about, that's a big conception. I do know a lot of women that just get child support, that even people, that's not right, and you're not a single parent if you are getting child support from another parent.
That's exactly right.
And get out of the court system. It's not worth it. It destroys people's lives. People commit suicide every day. You know what? That blood's going to be on your hands. By the way, if your significant other commits suicide because of you, that blood's on your hands. So make sure you tell your child that one day when they get older, that, hey, daddy or mommy killed themselves because I was a bitch and what I was doing and got myself into the courts. Grow up. I'm just sick of it. We can stop this problem if we all come together and all make attempts. Even if you're out there right now and you're listening and you have somebody that you don't think will co-parent, find a third party. Go to a co-parenter, tell them what's going on, have that co-parenter, a professional that knows what they're talking about, call up your significant other and ask them, because they're a professional. They'll tell them, we want to co-parent. At least try.
Jay, I see you laughing.
Yeah,
I'm sorry,
I knew that Neely was fired up when she said the B word. I was like, whoa! Got it, man.
Well, Jay, I was going to say, this is probably the best I've seen Neely in terms of this off the cuff from her heart, in terms of, I loved it. I loved it. You know what it was? I said, straight to the point. Grow up. Don't be a bitch. Straight to the point. Again, there's not much fluff in between that, is there, Money Moss?
No, there isn't. And it's right to the point, and I like it. I love it because
I do.
There are so many people that out there, and you need to hear it. And you need to, if you're out there and you're a female, you need to hear it from another female. And I'm glad that you just did.
And Jay,
grow up.
Yeah, it reminds me of what we talked about earlier, Jay, when we were talking about friends. Good friends don't just go with you no matter what. They also tell you when you're fucking up, right, Jay? When they say, man, hey, this isn't you, or you're being steered wrong. And that's what Neely's doing. Hey, friends.
And I could even go further. If you're listening right now and you get child support, you're a man or a woman. How about you call up the child support office, write them a letter, certified letter, and tell them you don't want child support anymore. You want to know how to defeat these courts? You want to know how to defeat this beast? That is the way. You figure out how to work with you had a child with this person. It doesn't matter. If you decided you jumped in that bed, you had a child. So grow up and, stop taking it out on the child and stop feeding the beast system that we're trying to fight, because it's not going to end well. First of all, they've taken half your child support. You're not even getting most of the money, anyway. Some parents I know don't even pay child support and they don't even get a check. The state's taking the whole thing.
Yep.
Wouldn't you want that money? Stop getting, I know Obamacare and the medical thing is so screwed up right now. That's a whole other discussion. But try to get on some private insurance. You just got to fix all these little aspects and stop thinking the world owes you something or that our government owes you something. They don't owe you jack shit.
That's exactly right. And I would agree with that 100%. Nobody owes you a damn thing in this life except for yourself. And it's time that you realize that if you want something great for your life, you're going to have to do it yourself. It's nobody else's responsibility. It's your responsibility. You want something great for your kids, it's your responsibility to do that as well. And how you do that is by you say, the hell with this court system, because all it's doing is screwing my child out of money and available resources for their future. And so you say to your ex, hey, look, I might hate your guts. I might not be happy with you, but we had a child together and we need to act like grown-ass adults and stop going to the family court system to solve our problems when we're two grown-ass adults. Let's start acting like grown adults.
And when you start, sorry, Jay, but when you start proving that, and you are showing and you take all that, you're going to have all that evidence. So even if that other person doesn't want to do it, you'll have that for later on, whenever it comes down to it, whatever happens, I'm not going to quit fighting. I know that, my family is not going to quit fighting that you're watching right now. There's so many people. We're growing every day. There are new people coming in every day. I had over 10 new messages today from new people, some of which I hope are watching this show. They said they would, and we're growing. So just, keep on. You have to, but it's
exactly.
good that you're listening to us, because we know.
Yes. Yeah, we definitely know. We've been in there, and the advice that I would give to all of the new people in this is, don't go out there and use your voice just yet. I know that you want to. I know that you're tempted to. I know that you're tempted to grab the cell phone or to grab your computer and start making all of these messages and live feeds and everything. And I understand that you want to speak out. I get that. But let's make sure that you're educating yourself first. Let's make sure that you're diving deep into the law and knowing what you're talking about before you're going out. You can sit back and you can say, well, Title 4D and Title 4E and look, if you don't know all the details of Title 4D, don't talk about Title 4D. Talk about what you know about. Talk about what you can get out there to help educate other people. Don't talk about things you don't know about.
Absolutely, Jan. As we've said before, and it's worth mentioning again, is that getting into this, not even just getting into it, through this whole entire ordeal and process, it's very emotional. And a lot of times when people are just getting into this, they're in a very emotional state. Their emotions are all over the place. They're confused. They're scared. They're mad. They're sad. They're everything. So, as Jay said, best thing to do is step back, breathe, and do some networking. And do some networking. Go to people like we mentioned before. Ed Wells. Go to people. American Speak Will Share Parenting, all the wonderful groups that are doing great things. And there's so many groups that form every day. And I think that's a great way to go, Jay, an empowering way to go too, and just kind of start to learn and let things, again, recognize sometimes when you're being overly emotional and use those emotions to your benefit and recognize when, okay, I need to, and Jay's really good and Pete are with me and vice versa of knowing when to say, hey, you know what, breathe a little bit. Step back, and there's been times where we collectively, Neely, Pete, and Jay and I, and all of us, Mary Jane, we will purposely, I know Jay and I have talked about, won't go on for a day or two, and it doesn't usually end 2 days, but we'll just take a break during the week, exhale, watch a movie, have some fun. Again, I see it all the time, guys, where people feel guilty for having fun or even smiling, and
you have to live.
You gotta live, and that's the best thing to do. I see all the time. That's true. Live your damn life. Parallel to this fight, but you still got to live a life, because again, always remember that social media, all these things we're doing are recorded. Your kids someday will see this, and if you want them to see you living in a respectful way, respecting yourself, Jay, because that's what it boils down to, right, Jay? Self-respect.
You got to have respect, and it boils over into everything. Respect is a big thing for me, because if you don't respect yourself, how are you going to respect anybody else? You cannot respect anybody else's fight if you don't respect your own fight enough to fight and not go, well, the court screwed me. I think I'm just going to go out and get drunk tonight. No, I mean, that's disrespect for yourself, and that's just disrespect for your fight. And in your fight, not only your fight, but your fight is affecting other people's fight as well. And you've got to realize that how other people see people in this movement is how they see everybody in this movement. And so if you're doing something that is out there and it's outlandish and it's going to cause you problems, it's not just going to cause you problems, it's going to cause everybody across this board who's a parent who's in this fight problems. So you've got to understand that.
Yeah, if I could, I had a really good instructor in the police academy way back years and years ago, back in another life. But he showed up into the class, and we're all very young, 19, 20, 21-year-olds. And this instructor was also a very high-ranking police officer, comes in completely disheveled. None of us knew who he was. We knew the name from the paperwork we had. tie all undone, glasses. And he looked up kind of confused. All of a sudden, what class is this? And he goes, I'll be right back. And he leaves with his everything. And we're all looking to like, what the hell is this? Right? What is this? This is our instructor, right? Comes back in about 2 minutes later, completely squared away. Everything squared away, knew right what he was doing. Bang. What do you guys think he talked about? First impressions.
Mm-hmm.
Now, again, some of these people in the movement that are new, people outside the movement, you could be the first person they see as a representative of whether it is the Father's Rights Movement, whether it's American People Share Parenting, anything within this bubble of this thing we call the movement. So, that being said, Jay, right?
Yep.
You never get a second chance to make a first impression. That's true. And remember, you're representing all of us. And I think we take that very seriously. We take it as an honor, as you should. And Jay said, again, we say all the time, you're born innately with love, and that includes love for yourself. So you got to kind of reflect inward and say, where is it that I lost myself? And I started to believe I wasn't tough enough. I wasn't worth enough. And that's where you start, because never, ever believe that about yourself. If you've done wrong or things that you're not cool with, fix them the best you can and move forward in a good way, in a positive learning.
Right, exactly. And I've seen so many people contact me within the last few months, and they're with CPS groups, and they're Debbie Downers, and they're, oh, what are we going to do to solve this thing, and blah, blah, blah. Don't you know? Don't you know it's already being solved right now? It's being solved right now, so get on the board.
Yeah.
This is the thing right now that people don't understand. Title 4A and Title 4E are going away come October 2018. It was part of the Buchanan Act that was already signed by President Trump. It's going away already. All we have to do is get Title 4D on board, and our good friend out there, Mark Ludwig, who will be calling in a few minutes, hopefully here, he's
Mark,
working on that. So,
where are you, Mark?
Yeah, he'll be on in a few, I'm sure.
And about
great point,
respect, I'd like to put this out there. You know, when I first started in this battle in family court, I respected the judge. I've always respected, my elders, and I respected my government, and I respected my country, and, I had no idea what was going on. And I guess that's why, now I know that you can't go into court. You can't go into court cussing. You can't go into court, acting like a complete idiot or saying things because of course the judge is going to look at you like, okay, this dude doesn't even have respect, or this woman doesn't even have respect. Get him out of my courtroom, and I'm not even gonna. That first impressions are so important. If you go to court, get dressed like you're going to court. Don't go in blue jeans. Get dressed to go to court. Show them respect, even though we know now, but things are changing. So let's be the bigger people here. Let's rise to the occasion, and let's get this done.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a great point, Neely. And not just get dressed for them, get dressed for you.
Yeah.
Go in there professionally, feeling great about yourself. Show, again, there's a lot to be said, again, as Neely said too, those first impressions. And people, whether you like it or not, when you go in, and there's a lot to be said, as I said too, Jay, you feel better about yourself. Go in feeling good about yourself, feeling squared away. The way I see people all the time, and I can't stand it, and I see it in music, whatever it is. You're going to respect me. No, people, you can't convince people how to respect you. You show them how to do it. You do it by living in a way they can't help it, even if they don't want to respect it. They don't have a choice. So when I hear you're going to respect me, I don't give two shits. You can do what you want. Change who I am. You live in a respectful way, respectful toward yourself. The rest will follow. Oh, my goodness. I heard on that note.
Yeah. And a guy that we greatly respect out there, Mr. Mark Ludwig. Mark, how are you doing this evening, brother?
Doing great. I was trying to log on where I can see you guys, but I don't see you.
Oh, well, we're on here, brother.
Jay will overlay a pretty picture of your face when we're done with the show.
Yeah, can you guys see me or not?
Yes, we can see you just fine. Yep.
See you.
I'm glad you told me, because I literally can't see you, and I'm sitting here with my underwear on with a dress shirt on trying to stuff.
At least he's
dressed
honest.
up for the occasion. Hey,
Jay and I are both naked from the waist down, so you got one up on us, Mark. Hey, Mr. Ludwig, thank you so much for joining us. I know you have a tedious and arduous schedule, and again, as I say in private, make sure you're eating and sleeping. And I know that's kind of a joke because you aren't able to do that right now, but make sure you're taking care of yourself. Mark, thanks for joining us, brother. What do you got?
thank you.
Man, I appreciate you guys. I mean, like I said, we all play a role in this. We're all a team, and you guys are a huge part of that team. Love what you guys are doing. We need to continue to make sure we grow your audience. All of us need to make sure that we're sharing, spreading the word. I need to be doing a better job of that myself. Hopefully I can be doing that at all the events that we're doing for this Capitals for Kids tour, making sure people are following your show, because that is huge, raising that awareness. And it's awesome to know that you guys are there every week so people can tune in. So yeah, just definitely appreciate those efforts for sure.
Thank you. We greatly appreciate we greatly appreciate you guys behind the scenes doing everything that you're doing. Some great work, obviously, with Title 4D and some of the work that you're doing out there. Give us a great update of what you got going on there.
Yeah, I got some exciting things that we're working on. Like I said, I don't want people to get their hopes up too much and think, oh, we're going to just sprinkle poof dust and in 60 days everything's changed. It's going to be a battle. The timeline we're looking at, originally I was thinking we had a slight chance of October 1st of this year. I realistically, I don't see that happening. I do think that we've got a very good chance by October 1st of next year, which even though to some people they're thinking, oh my gosh, that's 16 months away. Trust me. And in DC time, that's nothing. That's blink of an eye.
Right.
So,
Exactly.
But we are making phenomenal progress. I'm going back up again next week. I haven't met a single legislator yet that was opposed to what we're conceptually trying to do here. Every single one we have on board that I've met with. Now, the challenge is in DC, there's 437 of those guys and gals, but so that's a lot more. It's compared to the state level, it's not even in the same league. And at the DC level, when you look at these senators' offices, I don't know if anybody's ever been to the Senate offices in DC, but the Senate normally has a larger staff than the governor has in almost every state in the country. And so every one of the 100 senators has that size staff, the state reps, it's unreal. And the federal legislators are bombarded by so many issues. You really can't meet with all of them by themselves, and you wouldn't even want to, because they deal with so many issues. They literally delegate to staff members that there's times the legislator doesn't even know until they're going in for the vote which way they're going to vote, because the person they've delegated to do all the research is telling them is on the walk across Capitol Hill.
Right.
And so lots of meetings. Normally, to do it right, you're going to meet with easily 2, 3, 4 staff members, which are separate meetings in each of those, and separate meetings with the legislators. So we're talking thousands of meetings, literally, that are going to take place between now and next October 1st. So I'm trying to peel them off. Every time I go to DC, I'm not exaggerating. Obviously, it's because I'm old now, too, as Levi reminds me on a regular basis. But I mean it, guys. Normally, when you go to DC on a trip like this, you start, normally you're on the metro station by 6:30, 7 o'clock, and you don't come home till 8 o'clock at night. And there is no break time. There's several days when I've been there, it's like, oh my gosh, I totally forgot to eat today. And it's been 13 hours.
Yes.
That's why you got Bud chirping in here. Make sure you eat. You're a wonderful representative, Mark. You're well-spoken. You're articulate. You're kind-hearted. You're really doing such great work. So keep it up. I'm excited. I know that we've got our event, as was spoken about, September 26th here in New Hampshire, the Grand State.
New Hampshire.
Yes. I spoke with Ed Bryan. We didn't actually speak. We went back and forth a little bit. Probably talk to him tomorrow morning. We're both so excited, Mark. He's, for the few that don't know, Ed Bryan is the gentleman who I help out with the New Hampshire page. He does a lot more for it than I do. And I'm so excited to meet Mark and everybody. There's a lot of energy building behind this, Mark. On the 26th.
Yeah, I think New Hampshire, I'm telling you, you guys have a state. The support that I'm hearing from legislators in your state is unbelievable.
Kim Rice. I know I've had conversations with Kevin Abbott. I know that, as the aforementioned Ed Bryan is running for, I believe, a representative seat, if I'm not mistaken. There's off the top of my head, I can't remember the districts that he's running, anything like that. But this is, again, as you said, it's a hotbed. We've got some very supportive legislators out here in New Hampshire, and business people who I've spoken to, people in the community too. So I think we're building quite a bit of energy toward the 26th.
Yeah, I'm convinced this is going to be your year. I'm convinced. So all the cities that we're doing a total of 25 cities. So I always tell people, if you're within 4 hours of any of these cities, please come out. It's important that legislators see butts in the seats in every city that we go to. I know we've got Denver coming up August 5th. We've got Austin, Texas. That's going to be a dynamite one. Just got off the conference call with the Texas crew a minute ago. That's September 12th. Oops, sorry about that.
There's the bat phone. There's the bat phone. That's we know the bat phone. You better get that one.
Yeah. Let's see. We've got Orlando, October 3rd. We've got St. Louis, October 7th. New Hampshire, September 26th. We're going to be in Springfield, Illinois coming up. Nashville, Tennessee. Trenton, New Jersey, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. So if you're in any of those cities, please go to afbsp.com and buy your tickets. Would definitely help.
Absolutely.
The other thing I think is kind of a cool thing. I don't know if any of you saw the post today, but I had a chance to have lunch with Ozzie. I don't know if you guys know across the country, but in St. Louis, Ozzie Smith, the Hall of Fame baseball player, everybody in St. Louis knows the guy and loves him. Just a
Wizard of Oz. Yep.
Yeah.
But he went through a nasty custody battle himself and had quite the discussion with him today. Matter of fact, he gave me a signed baseball for Levi. It's kind of cool. But had a very good talk with him and don't know where it's going to go yet at this point. He doesn't want to have too much of a public presence, but I think he will show up at a couple of events for us and do a couple of smaller things. He does not want us to become the face of the movement, if you will. He's very adamant he doesn't want that, but he does realize the cause and how important it is for kids to have both parents. So we're going to open up the talks a little more once the off season comes. He's real busy with the Cardinals and his broadcasting career during the season. But like I said, I had a great opening talk with him today. So I was very encouraged by that.
Awesome.
That's amazing.
That's great.
That's Ludwig. Go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, we're definitely talking about the Hall of Fame shortstop of all shortstops out there, Mr. Ozzie Smith. So that's an amazing conversation you probably had with him. We'd love to have the guy on the program anytime he'd like to come on, and kind of interview him a little bit. We won't go into too much details because obviously those are always liability factors, but anything that we can do out there, and I know that we're going to be as present as we possibly can. Another reason why the Far From Normal radio show is really trying to become a 501c4 is so that we can send our delegates out there to get some interviews during some of these events that are going on. It's very important that we can kind of get some of these interviews from some of these people, because you're going to hear from them firsthand some of the things that they've experienced and some of the things they've gone through. And let me tell you, I've been at one of these events in DC. These are the most empowering events that I've ever seen and been a part of, because everybody seems to drop their egos right at the door, and they're all about making things happen and what positive directions can we go forward in. What do we need to kind of stray from? Mark does a great job, and his staff and Jeremy Roberts are just amazing people to meet and to talk with. Just a great staff with Americans for Equal Share Parenting. You put together an amazing crew, Mark, and they do some amazing stuff. So we would love to support and do anything that we can possibly do to help and get in contact with anyone out there that will help and support you, obviously. This man is going on a lot of the time on his own dime, people, and doing this and doing amazing stuff. And I want you guys, if you are out there and you are in the DC area and you have a place for Mark to stay, get in contact with Americans for Equal Share.
That would really help. That would really help.
Hey, Mark,
get in contact with him.
Yeah, Mark, I don't know. We haven't solidified the venue yet, as you know, and we have some great connections, Ed and I, so that won't be a problem. This is going to be fun. We've got a little bit of time. It doesn't matter. You're going to snuggle up with me, Mark. We're going to have to spend one night at least. It's going to be great. Go ahead,
Yeah,
Mark.
seriously, that's one of the biggest things. Any of these cities, if I, it costs a lot to put these events on with airfare and hotels. So it's just me. So if people have a sleeping bag and a place of carpet, trust me, that would help us out, guys, to save some money as we're doing this. So any of these cities, let me know.
Yeah, Mark, I'll let you know when you come to Trenton. I'm gonna look it up right now, the dates, and I'm gonna check my calendar. If so, I come pick you up. I'm here in New York, but Trenton's not that far from
cool.
Hey, Mark, I've got a couple of watchers, viewers right now asking how they can be a speaker. You can still sign up to volunteer, right, at your website.
Yeah, we definitely need some. Yeah, we need some volunteers. If anyone knows the speakers, send me a private message or to one of you guys, and you guys can forward it to me. I do want to try and vet the different speakers. Do we need to make sure that it's fit the tone of AFESP? Because this one, I'm being a little more controlling on this particular tour. I normally try to partner a lot with other states, and I don't like to overshadow the state because I believe that legislation is more of a statewide issue than a national issue. So I don't like to impose. But this particular event, because of what we're trying to accomplish, I do need to be a little more hands-on with this. Now, what I tell people is, if you want to have other events in your state that you want me to promote from that stage, I'm more than happy to promote other local organizations. But for this one, if you have potential speakers, do me a favor, send me a private message so that I can call them and vet them to make sure that they fit with the tone of what we're trying to accomplish at this particular event.
I'll send it to you.
That's so important, Mark. And I will say to add to that, to the people out there who are volunteering, myself volunteer for a New Hampshire sector of American Speak Wheelchair Parenting, and I consider it an honor. And so I say that, remember out there, you're representing Mark and everybody else and the children and your children. So represent yourself in a respectful way and think of everybody involved. And I think it's a wonderful thing. Mark is not the micromanaging type, but in this sort of a situation, it's not micromanaging. You got to control what you have going here. You've got some great momentum and you've got to protect it, Mark. Absolutely.
Yeah, this one, because like I said, I'm not exaggerating. Every trip I make to DC, they're watching all of my Facebook lives before I have these meetings, and I do the same thing when I do like a pre-study every person I meet with to find out what's their background, what are their issues. They're doing the same thing on me, and so it's critical that everything they see on an AFESP page. So yeah, like I said, for right now, I am doing a lot more micromanaging than we normally would be doing. The other thing we have a huge need for is sponsors. So if you know of any small business owners, my attitude is if I'm going to spend $1 of my money at a store or at a vendor or at a restaurant, and I know somebody's been through a shared parenting situation, I would much rather spend that money with them. Right. So if there's any small business owner that you know of that's been a supporter of shared parenting, and they'd like to help sponsor an event, tell them to reach out to me, and we'll do everything we can to feed them business and make it a win-win for them.
Exactly.
For them helping to sponsor the event.
Exactly.
You need to get some billboards. You need to get some billboards. We need to get money up to be able to get some billboards.
And believe it or not, that is one of the goals. My goal in 2019 is we're going to have at least 5 states that we're going to have a pretty intense billboard and multimedia campaign going on with some radio, some print, and some billboards. So that's why some people are saying, well, why are you charging money for this event? Well, because we're trying to raise money so we can do something in 2019.
Yes, exactly. It takes money, people, and I hate to say this because everybody in the movement, we know that you don't have a whole lot of money, but understand that this money is going to be well used, and you got to look at it in this factor. If we had 400 people that gave $1, that's $400. I mean, and we're looking at those aspects of this because it may take $4,000. Let's say we have $1 a person for 4,000 people. That's $4,000. We can put up a billboard. That's the things that we can do out here, but we need the resources to be able to do it. That's what Mark is collecting. Trust me when I say this, Mark is not making anything off of this at all.
Mark's enjoying his
if you saw my lovely condo here, I don't know if you would have reception if I dare take you in my bathroom to show you the hole in the wall behind my door. I don't know if you can see that or not, or if we have reception.
Yeah, baby.
I had a leak back there, and I'm
You're living it up.
fine. So I had to cut the thing open to find out where the leak was. It turned out it was
You're-
my neighbors.
You're Mark. You're obviously living the high life. We thank you for coming on. Enjoy your ramen noodles tonight, and I'll be in touch after the show, Mark. Thanks for coming on.
All right. Thanks, Mark.
Thanks, guys.
Bye, Mark.
All
Take
right.
care, Mark.
Love you, brother. All right.
pal.
So awesome show, guys. Great stuff in our first half of the show. Great stuff in our last part of the show. And we get down to the nitty gritty here, our depressing time. But
Oh, it's even past that, so we're good. We're like.
I wanted to say one thing earlier.
Yeah, go ahead.
I gotta say it to Bud when you were talking about you were like, go in the mirror and talk about, say you're the best, and empowering yourself. I remember one time because I would do that, like I was actually told by the other opposing counsel, they said she has a sense of entitlement. And I looked at her like, what does that mean? And they literally like hated me for that. But you know what? Screw it. I'm gonna keep on, and I'm telling you, they messed with the wrong one. It's
And that's the way to be. And I tell you folks out there, if you start doing it and you're saying I'm the best, there's no one that can. And you start getting emotional and crying, you're doing it right.
Yep.
You're doing it right. Keep
That's
going.
exactly right. All right. So we're going to start off our shout outs tonight with Mr. Bud Veno.
Yo, my brother from another mother. For the last time tonight, almost 10 o'clock, my brother Jay Money Moss. July 10, 2018, we were graced again by Neely, the power forward Petrie, and Pete, the real deal McNeil out of Brooklyn. Love you to all of our listeners and viewers out there. Thank you very much. Keep your chins up. Shout out to my BBC and my BBC brother John Mondu, Aaron Himalaya Roberts, catching those waves. Love you, brother. We'll talk soon. Ruby Strickland, I saw a very nice comment she wrote to our show. Thank you so much. Humbled and flattered by your words. Everybody out there, my little asbestos mates, my beautiful wife, Allison, who she loaded this more mashed potatoes for. She's really, I think, did it on purpose to torture me. It's like a smorgasbord around me. Everybody out there, my brother Kevin Moran, everybody, keep your chins up. It's not over till you say it's over, boys and girls. And I didn't hear no bell, Jay. But I did hear a hey, yeah, baby, and it's fun, but I kind of liked it.
All right. So we're going to go with Neely Petrie.
Shout out to my family. Shout out to you guys. Shout out to all the viewers out there that are watching. Keep on fighting. Don't give up. Shout out to the Trump administration and all the patriots that are fighting for the Constitution right now, for the Bill of Rights, for our freedoms, for our creator endowed freedoms that we were born with, that this should not be happening to us. So all the people that are fighting for the right thing. And shout out to the people that are starting up prayer groups out there to help the situation, because we are in a war, and this war is a war against good and evil, and you got to pick a side. It's time to pick a side. Start a prayer group if you haven't started one. Get some people together, and let's fight this fight.
Awesome. Oh, and she gets the Kentucky horse. All right.
Yeah,
Mr. Three-Peat.
Hey, I'd like to give a shout out to my family for always supporting me and helping me out. To my FFN fam, of course, again, always supporting me and helping me out through thick and thin. Shout out to cousin Richie. Shout out to my friend Richie, who always listening to me and all my crap all the time, every time I come in and out of court. A special shout out to Tom O'Donnell, always keeping me in the loop on what he's doing. A great guy. And another special shout out to Andre Pauly. I'm always here for you, brother. Thanks for reaching out the other day. It was a great conversation. And keep your head up, man. And we're all here for each other. But other than that,
all right.
Hey, Jay.
All right. He gets the car home.
One last one to our brother Jim Cropper, the bomb dropper. He started a group that is, I believe, folks, it is You Will Uphold Your Oath. He's really empowering himself. Shout out to Jim. Keep it up, brother.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely want to thank Tanya Hathaway for coming on, and definitely Mark Ludwig for all that he's doing out there with Americans for Equal Share Parenting. Want to thank those people behind the scenes who are sharing our show: Ruby Strickland, Janet Pipkin, Amanda Marie, definitely MJ, you out there. Love you, what you're doing, great stuff, awesome. We love it. And all of those people out here who are fighting their fight, we're in there, we're in the battle with you, we're not leaving you, we're not going anywhere, except for we may change the platform on you and may eventually evolving into going into YouTube. We will keep you updated on that. We've had a lot of issues and technical difficulties and problems with taking this broadcast and going on straight through Facebook. Unfortunately, Mark Zuckerberg does not like us too much and is playing that kind of game. So him and his staff making it unfortunate for us, but we may just take our business elsewhere. So if that happens, we will definitely be letting you know, and we will be keeping you updated on that, but we will still be sharing the link directly back into Facebook so that you can follow us on YouTube. So that is a definite on what we do, and be aware and apprised that we are expanding the staff. If you are interested in joining the Far From Normal Radio Show staff, reach out to us at thefarfromnormalradioshow@gmail.com. We will be glad to get back with you as soon as possible. So as as we say every single week, you are important, you are loved, and you are cared about. God bless.
Chins up, yeah.
Walking alone, the streets are empty. The only thing I can see is my own silhouette. I'm getting stronger, step by step. The clock is ticking, but there's no time for regrets. I've been flying from town to town, from London to Taiwan. I've been all around the globe, trying to protect your soul. We are heroes tonight. We will fly above the sky. We are heroes tonight. Yeah. We are heroes tonight. We will fly above the sky. We are heroes tonight. Ready to explore right up in the sky. I need you to listen, I need you to hear, and don't show any fear. I've been flying from town to town, from London to Taiwan. I've been all around the globe, trying to protect